everybody, and thank you. Welcome everyone here. So this is our first online cooking session. So hopefully it all goes okay. So yeah, I'm just starting with the basic recipes. So to get people started, there are new people and there are people who are already familiar with some of the stuff. So I'm not going too much in the detail of the diet and nutrition. Maybe at some other and next lecture or so, we will talk a bit more about the nutritional aspect, like six taste or sattvic, rajasic, tamasic food. We will go more detail into that with the kapha foods. So today I'm just going to show 4 recipes. So one is dal. We talk so much about dal and all. And I'm going to show how to cook the dal in the pressure cooker because people are requesting about the pressure cooker. And then I'm going to show the rice, how to cook them with vegetables. So rice with vegetable could be just one dish on its own, especially when you're in a rush and you don't have much time to cook and all. And the dal is the same, one dish on its own. And then the third one is aloo gobi, which is the cauliflower cooked with potatoes. So I'm picking potatoes, like how to balance the nightshade with the spices, because people love potatoes and they feel bad, they don't feel very happy when I ask them not to use potatoes. So that's why I picked this dish. And the fourth one is lassi, the drink, the probiotic, the digestive lassi. I'm just quickly gonna show the ginger relish. So it's something with the ginger and lemon. So that I start with the ginger relish, then I do the dal, and then I will do probably the vegetable rice and aloo gobi and the lassi gobi at the end. So hopefully we will finish in 2 hours and we can take a little bit of questions in between. Okay, so what I want is I quickly want to show some of the stuff here that I'm using. So on our courses, I presume most of people here are familiar with Ayurveda and some of the basic. If you're not, you can ask in the chat section. So this is the ghee which I'll be using for cooking, the clarified butter. I already have a YouTube video about how to make it. Maybe in some other course we will cover this. So that's the cooking oil. And for the aloo gobi, I'm going to use the mustard oil because I want to show the variation. So which oil I have is that I use for my personal using. I buy these edible, it is a mixture of mustard and rapeseed. If you can't get it, just go with the rapeseed, it's fine. So no, we'll show that.
Okay, so that's a great big can of that.
Yeah, so it lasts me a lot. So these are the 2 oil I'm using for the cooking. And they both have a high smoking point and we can cook with them high temperature and all of that is all safe there. And then here is the moong dal. So we talk about the lentils. So moong dal is tridoshik, which means it's balanced all the balanced 3 doshas, vata, pitta, and kapha. So moong is not too acidic, not too kind of warm or cold. It is a very balanced kind of a dal, full of protein and all of that. So that's what I'm going to show how to cook this. And then we are using the basmati rice and with the vegetables. And then I have so I already did the preparation of the vegetables. So just chop the cauliflower florets and long thin sliced potatoes. That's what I said in the recipe in your notes. So that kind of preparation. And what else I have here is I have some of the vegetables. So what vegetables I'm using for the rice is cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, and some of the fresh peas I actually got in the Tesco today, and some purple cabbage that's in the season. So these are the vegetables I'm using. And just quickly to go through the spices, everybody know the rock salt or Himalayan salt, and then I'm using black salt for lassi and the asafoetida, the hingu. So I'm sorry I cannot give you to smell it because when I do the courses, I give the people to smell it and feel it. So these are the 2 products I'll be using. And then we talk about the dosha specific spice mixture. So there are vata, pitta, and there's a kapha one. So these are already like pre-prepared spices. They're already mixed with cumin, coriander, fennel, according to the vata people, pitta people, and then there's a kapha. So
you can bring them up, you can show them up.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about them. But vata and pitta, and the kapha here. And then the honey, we have 2 kinds, wild forest and eucalyptus honey. I'm using the honey in the ginger relish. So I think that's one more product I want to show because I talk about it and I think people are very interested in that. So So I'm going to use a little bit of the tamarind in the cooking. So that's the sweet tamarind fruit that I use. It's not too sour and it's not sweet. It's a very nice, even it could be eaten as a snack. So this is in the pulp. So what you do is you break the pulp. And so just break the pulp and get the fruit out. And that's what we soak in the water, and the water will be used in the cooking. So it has the seeds in it. So if you want, you can mash with your hands and get the seeds out and really mix the pulp into the water and use that into the cooking. So if you're not using tomatoes, so tamarind could be used. So I already have some of it soaked in the water here.
Whoa.
Sorry. Yeah, it's okay. So that's like that. So yeah, so I'm gonna start with the ginger relish. So for the ginger relish is a wonderful digestive aid. It helps to enhance the digestion, especially around the winter time. For the kapha people, for the sluggish metabolism, for lymphatic system, for circulation, with cold hands and feet, constipation, and a lot of different digestive problems. Ginger relish is a brilliant digestive enzyme, you can say, to start. So ideally, it is recommended half an hour before you eat, but sometimes you forget. So just take it half a teaspoon before your meal. So what is the ginger relish is I have some grated ginger here. So I already peeled the ginger, and in my blender, I just blend it into a little paste. You can grate it and all. So this is roughly a kind of a teaspoon of the ginger for two times. So half a teaspoon lunch and half a teaspoon dinner time. So, but if your Ayurveda practitioner has recommended to take it, so you can make yourself a little batch. So you can make yourself a 3/4 of a jar with ginger, and the rest are the other ingredients. Keep in the normal fridge and take it out, add a little bit of hot water, and eat it before you eat your food. Okay, and it's lovely. Lots of people just love it. For pitta in small amount, but for vata and kapha, half a teaspoon. So I'm mixing here. I don't know, do you need to bring the camera here or?
No, it's okay for now, yeah. Okay. So someone is saying that the screen looks small, so that's your own settings. You control how the screen looks, you know. So you can do full screen or gallery screen or whatever. So you control that, you know.
So we have talked about the black salt. Black salt is a medicinal salt. This is like a little prebiotic. So it only has a very strong sulfur smell. So you get used to it. It takes a little time. So if you're not familiar, start with the normal salt or skip it and slowly introduce a pinch, and then you increase the quantity. So black salt is a wonderful salt for, as I said, the detox, lymphatic system, and digestion. So it's a prebiotic that you can say, the food for the good bacteria. So just getting the ingredients ready. If you can look your notes, you can look at your notes as well while I'm talking. That'll help you to understand better, hopefully. So I have here is ginger, honey, black salt, black pepper, and lemon. So these are the 5 ingredients that go into the ginger relish. So as I said, a 2 teaspoon of the ginger paste or the grated ginger, and then roughly like a less than half, so it's like a 1/4 piece of fresh lemon. You squeeze that in. And then I'm gonna use a pinch of black pepper. Just need a dry spoon. So just using not like a 1/4 or 1/8, just a pinch of teaspoon of the black salt. Okay, and then a teaspoon, roughly 3/4 of the teaspoon of the honey. So this is like equivalent to trikatu. We have this in the powder form that we call the trikatu. So for making the trikatu in the fresh form is ginger, lemon, honey, black pepper, and black salt, and you mix everything together. It is really very tasty. When I do the in-person workshops, I give it people the sample to taste, and most of people just love it, and they said they get addicted to it once they start using it. And it's wonderful. It really makes your body temperature go high, especially people complaining with cold hand, cold feet, bowel problem and all. So if I bring it closer to the camera, so that's how this will be looking. So there's the lovely juice from the lemon, and that's the honey, the color of the honey in it, eucalyptus honey. And that's how the the ginger radishes. So that's one of the recipe. So if you're eating dinner, you take it half a teaspoon or quarter teaspoon as recommended by Elijah.
Okay, sorry for interrupting. There's some chats coming in about the view on the screen. So I'm looking at this on 2 separate laptops, and it's absolutely perfect. So it's full screen. I can see everything. I have 2 different laptops here as well as the phone. So I think if you're having problems, on your screen, you need to change your own settings. So go up to the view and either pick speaker view is what you need to do. Just go up to view on the top right hand side of the screen and pick speaker view, and also full screen. And then yeah, Margaret is saying perfect on her screen. Yeah, so that's what you need to do, because it is perfect here.
Let's saying is the black salt goes by the name of the kala namak. Yes, when you buy that in the Asian store, it is called kala namak. Yeah, kala is black, and namak is salt, so black salt. Yes. Okay, so I have in the recipe roughly half a cup of the moong dal. Moong dal swells up a lot, so when people are cooking for the first time, just be careful with the quantity. You really need small amount when you're cooking for 1 person or 2 person. So around this size of the cup can easily serve 2 people. So that's kind of only a really very small amount of cup. So you can take 3/4 or half, depending on how much you eat, right? So you need to wash. This is the organic dal, so it is free of any contamination or anything. Sometimes there are little soil particle or something you need to check if it's not organic, but most of the time it's fine. So you can put that in the sieve and wash under the tap water. So in the beginning, the water will be like white and starchy. So let it wash for a few seconds, and then water will be a bit more clean. And then ratio of dal to the water is 1 to 4. So 1 cup of dal, 4 cups of water. That's the ratio is. So that's what you kind of put into your pot or into your pressure cooker, and you just put it side to boil. If you're boiling it in a pot, sometimes the white froth come on the surface. That's the starch. You can scrape it, but if you're making in the pressure cooker, it just go itself, so you don't have to worry. So now I just show the pressure cooker. My one is a 4-liter one from India, so that's the lid is. And when I've done the cooking course in the past, people are talking about the whistle. So you're gonna hear it. This little thing here, it goes up when it gets built, the steam build up, and it give a little kind of a hissing sound, like a whistling sound. New pressure cooker, I think when people are buying it from Argos or Amazon, they don't have this kind of, so they don't actually whistle, but it's still be giving a very kind of a light noise, like the steam is releasing. So that's what I mean by the whistle. So you just check the setting of your pressure cooker.
Yeah, someone asked about black salt there. I'm just looking at the chats coming in. So black salt is available on our website, ayurveda.ie, just under foods and spices. And someone asked about using a slow cooker. So a slow cooker is, a slow cooker is great. That's black salt there. And
you have to
very strong smell of it.
And you have to kind of adjust the timing when you're using the slow cooker. Timings will be different. So it's not going to give you any problem with hissing sound. So on this one, I'm going to show you, we're going to wait for 3 whistles and then we will open it. Or in the slow cooker, you have to set the timer for say 20 minutes, and after 20 minutes you open. Or maybe depends on how slow settings. I'm not very.
Yeah, you can actually set a slow cooker for even longer. You can set it for hours, and you can just you put your lunch on and go out, and then come back a few hours later, and it'll be ready. I used the slow cooker for years actually. I don't use it anymore because I'm there to cook my lunch now. But I used to use the slow cooker a lot. But obviously, a pressure cooker it's going to be much quicker, much quicker.
So I just put the pressure cooker. It's all empty. There's a little water line to dry it up. And while this is drying up, I'm going to wash the dal. And then I will add the water. As I said, it is like 1 to 4. So this is like roughly half a cup. So I'm going to add 3 cups of water. But when you're doing it for the first time, you might like to measure it. But if you go by your intuition, like okay, something always, but 1 to 4 ratio is never failing. So I just wash it quickly.
So for one person, if you're just making lunch for yourself, you don't even need half a cup of dal. You need about 1/4 of a cup of dal, and then 1 cup of water. So 4 to 1 is the ratio, and you can mix that around. If you want a real liquid day, then you can add more water into it and make it much more soupy. And if you want, if you want it as part of a main meal, then you can have less water.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it depends on dal, could be cooked into different textures, creamy and soupy and liquidy. So So according to that, you adjust the quantity of the water. So you're gonna make like a creamy dal. So there are two methods as well. Like people were asking about the current pairs, talking about putting the tempering at the end. So I'm gonna show you that method in a different way. So I'm just gonna, because I want to show the pressure cooker. So I'm just gonna let the dal go into the cooker and let it boil. Probably wrong part because of the. So some people, what they do, they add the dry turmeric powder and the salt in it, and they let it boil. But I prefer that turmeric and salt things are cooked into the ghee and then added into the dal. So okay, let me see if I can bring it to the camera. So it will be starchy. So the whitish, I don't think. And dal doesn't have gluten, but dal doesn't have starch. So it is carbohydrates, but it wouldn't be gluten. So yeah, it is gluten free. It has more protein than the gluten of like wheat gluten.
Okay, so just there's a good few questions coming in, Raj. You need to speak up when you're away from the camera.
Okay.
It's a little bit more difficult for people to hear. Ginger relish for pitta people, it's fine. I'm pitta, and it's just a little bit is good to get your fire up your digestion. You know.
Just 1 second. This is how this goes. That's how this is locking on now, and I can turn it on the full heat, and when the one whistle come, I will slow down the heat. So that's how. So just need to keep an eye, and whistle will remind me that how long does it take. So while that is getting ready, I'm going to start my spices. I let Noel talk for a minute, and I'm going to blend some ginger into the more paste.
Okay, so I'll just go through some of the questions. So
this is what I use. So I already have some ginger pieces in it. So what I do, I just peel the skin and just roughly chop the ginger, throw into my food processor, and just paste it down. That's all.
Okay, so where do you buy dal? You can buy dal on our website. We have an organic dal on our website. It's you don't see it in too many other places. You can see mung dal or green bean dal, but it is more and more available, all right. But you don't seem to get too many of the organic stuff, you know. There are some Indian shops that do sell it as well, you know. So someone asked about the ginger relish for pittas. It's okay, just a small bit. Dal gluten free, yes. 1/4 teaspoon for pitta. Small, maybe once a day rather than twice. So for pitta, once. Okay. Do you leave dal in water overnight? That's the good thing about dal. You don't have to do that. I suppose you could if you wanted to, but you definitely don't have to. I never do that. Rather soak it overnight. Oh, you can soak it if you want, but this moong dal you don't have to. It actually gets cooked very quickly. It's like rice, just a little bit longer than rice, so you don't have this one. But other varieties of dal, like the hard ones, the whole ones, like green moong, yeah, those you probably need to. Okay, so okay, all those questions are answered. Someone's having a problem with the sound. Okay, there's going to be a lot of local things going on as well, you know. Everyone seems to be okay with the view now, though. Okay. So I'm just chopping some spinach because I call this sattvic dal. So sattvic is like all the sattvic, the pure quality. So I'm not using any onion and garlic. But you can use, in this one, this is sattvic, so I'm showing a simple way of cooking this one down. We're going to use spinach into that. So just chopping some spinach. So this is I got this one spinach from Indian Asian source. So see the variety is very different and how dark the color is. So that's a very kind of a spinach full of prana and all just. So the one we get is a baby spinach is a different, but you can use that as well. That's no problem. Okay, so I've brought the camera right up beside Dr. Rajvinder. So Mark, is the sound better for you? Just stick in the chat there. Much better. Okay, from Lainey Ennis. Okay, thanks, Lainey. All right, so this is my job as a cameraman. That's why I'm here. Yeah, so you just leave the cooker there and just have this frying pan, and I'm using the stainless steel cooker.
and this is the iron kind of pan. So you want good metal or material. I don't like to use aluminum or Teflon or any of those as much as possible. So this is just one to soak. So I'm going to prepare the spices for the dal. So this is a little bit of liquid, let it dry, and I bring my spices.
So I hope you all heard that. No Teflon, no aluminium pots, stainless steel or cast iron is ideal, you know.
Yeah, steel or cast iron. Take all the liquid out.
This is Raj's, the spice box that Raj has.
Yeah, so we have salt, and these are the dry fenugreek leaves. I'll show them later. Turmeric, mustard seeds, cumin seeds, garam masala. So some of my courses will show how to make garam masala, and then some fennel. So for the dal, we're gonna use the ghee. So I'm looking at the notes what I said, wash the dal in the tap and then add water and boil for 20 minutes, but maybe it will be quicker than 20 minutes. So we're gonna use a tablespoon of ghee. When you are using the ghee from the jar, make sure you use the dry spoon and you don't mix the spoon with the spices and the ghee. Just keep the spoon separate.
And that's our own organic ghee as
Yeah.
well that we sell, you know.
If you're cooking for less and you want less ghee as well, it's fine. It is okay to use a little bit less. So I just use a kind of a 3/4 of this tablespoon. So you need to melt it because the ghee gets solidify in the room temperature. And when it melts, and for new people who are cooking for the first time, like Matthew, they're very happy to see you there. So and you're not sure how much spices you want to use and all, just use a 1/4 of a teaspoon. So in this spice box, they give you this kind of spoon, and then just roughly the idea is that size, a 1/4 teaspoon. So we're gonna use a cumin. So just roughly like a 1/2 or 1/4 teaspoon. The cumin, when you're new to the spices and you're using them for the first time for your digestive system as well. So use very small amount. And then now the ghee is kind of already warm and heat up, and you see the cumin seed will start crackling. So in this, I'm going to use some curry leaves. If you have some curry leaves handy, because people complain, oh, dal is very bland, it has no flavor, but it's adjusting the spices. So these are the curry leaves here. I got a big bunch of them from the Asian store. So you just need 3 or 4, or you can chop and you fry them in the ghee. That's how they release their flavor, their aroma.
So you can hear that sizzling away now.
So you really want to let it give a few seconds to sizzle it away. And now I'll be adding a pinch of tingle, so pinch of asafetida. Again, asafetida is a strong spice. If you're not used to it, so just use the back of the spoon. So just kind of a little bit back of the spoon, or a little pinch. Okay, so just roughly like that much I'm using. You get used to it again. It takes time. Some people say it's a very strong flavor. They don't like it. You're using it too much if you are finding it strong, because once it is cooked, you don't even know it's there. Okay, and now, so the next I said, when the seeds start cracking, add pinch of tingle and then add ginger. So roughly in that, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of ginger or a tablespoon of ginger. If you like ginger, you can add tablespoon. If you don't like ginger too much, like pepper, just add 1/2 of the spoon or a teaspoon. Again, it is fresh ginger, just blend it in the blender. And we will cook it until it gets golden brown. So some people, if you are okay to use tomato, like normally you would use tomato, you can add a tomato as well. If your Ayurveda practitioner has told you due to some reason not to use tomato, then you can skip it. It's optional. And you can use amla fruits or dry amla powder to give the sour taste to the dal, or the tamarind juice or lemon.
Okay, so just to let you know, at the moment I can't see any of the chats coming in. So I'll have to get back to them in a few minutes. But so if there's anybody,
yeah, it will be just ready in a second. Just hold on for it. So let it just cook for a minute. You don't have to cook it for too long. So I'm skipping the tomato here. Just want to show the people that you can cook without the tomato. So next thing goes again a quarter or maximum half of teaspoon of turmeric, just to give it a kind of a nice yellow color. And you cook the turmeric into the ghee. And then next the garam masala, a teaspoon of the garam masala. So, and when the steam is released, it's go back, and then another wind will come, another one. So we're gonna do 2 more times. So it wasn't hardly even 5 minutes the first whistle came. So I'm gonna turn the heat down a little bit. So here in the spice mixture, my masala is ready, and I'm just gonna add a bit of salt as well. So kind of a again, this small spoon of salt, but you can adjust according to the taste. If you like.
That was frightened the living daylights out of you. You're standing beside it.
Yeah.
So that's the pressure cooker going on.
Yeah. So the normal pressure cooker, I think these Indian ones are like that. The one from the Argos and from Amazon, they are not this noisy. Because some people would say, oh, they get scared by the noise. I think if Roberta is there, her cooker doesn't make any noise. Or I have thought so yeah. Their cooker doesn't make noise. But you get used to it. So it's the 3 whistles. I turn the heat off now. So don't have to force it. Don't have to do anything. Leave it alone, and all the steam will be released. And then you can easily lift the handle. If you try to open it, it will resist. That's the mistake that we will do. If it's resisting, don't open it. Just leave it alone. So I'm gonna leave it alone, and my spices are ready to mix into it. All I need to do is throw my spinach here into this spice mixture, and let it steam, and then I'll be throwing into the dal and let it cook for a few more minutes. Okay. So you all can go back to the chat, and I'm just gonna chop the spinach a little more fine pieces, smaller pieces.
Okay, so let's see what's been coming in. Maybe everybody's answering them anyway. No ginger in recipe. Rose, there was lots of ginger in that recipe.
There's only ginger and some dry spices there.
Yeah, there was lots of ginger there. Yeah.
I haven't used tomato, but you can use tomato.
Okay, so love the spice box. That's good. Ceramic coated utensils are okay. That's okay. Yeah. Raj needs to wear a mic. I'm not sure how we get that hooked up to the phone, but yeah. Let's see. When I make it, the color is yellow. Am I doing something wrong, please? Well, yellow, goldy. Yellow is fine. It's yellow.
What yellow?
The ghee. When you mix the ghee, it's yellow. Well, it is kind of yellow. Yeah, it is yellow. So kind of yellow.
A little bit extra burn. I think you're bringing it you're cooking a little bit further to the point. So maybe turn the heat off a little bit earlier, a minute earlier.
When you had a white band at the bottom of the glass jar, well, that's probably not. You didn't scrape off all of the residue that came up, when you were cooking it. When you boil the dal, is that boiling for 20 minutes, or bring it to the boil and simmer for 20 minutes? If you're using an ordinary pot, then you would simmer for 20 minutes. So you wouldn't have it boiling for 20 minutes.
Pressure cooker, I say that's hardly 5 minutes.
Okay, let's see, where are we? Much better, sound much better. Raj needs to wear a mic so she can talk into it. She is a quick speaker and very hard to understand consistently, meant to be constructive feedback. Okay. Yeah, lady, we have to work on that one. I'm not sure how that will work. Can spices, herbs be stored in a glass bottles? Absolutely. In a press is ideal, away from the sunlight.
I do the mic. Should I bring in?
You won't work off the phone, I don't think.
Oh, okay, so let's see. No, it's just so my spices and the spinach is ready. So I can bring it here on the camera. So that's the spices and spinach ready. So I'm waiting for the steam to be released from the pressure cooker. I say that'll be another 2 minutes. Then we will mix this into the dal. I'll show you anyway, and let it simmer for another 5 minutes. So that's it. I think total time was maybe 10-15 minutes to make the dal in the cooker.
Okay, so Sonia asks, I thought in Ayurvedic cooking stems should be removed. She just noticed that you used the stems of the spinach.
No, I removed it.
Okay.
It was a big stem, so there was a big bunch of stems I just taken them off in the beginning. And these are the healthy stems that I can use. You can retain the stem. There's a lot of nutrition in the stems. You don't have to waste all of it. But there was a big bunch of stem at the bottom when I bought from the shop, so I took it off already.
So can you use dried curry leaves from Lorraine Cooney?
You can, yeah. The fresh one has more flavor. You can use fresh, but if you don't have the fresh one, then yeah, you can use the dry one. Yeah.
Okay, let me see what else I got.
While we are waiting, I'm gonna let the rice boil. And again, can I talk a little more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so while we are waiting for the dal, the steam to be released, we can start our rice.
Benjamin Steele asks, when will the recording be made available? Tomorrow, Benjamin. I hope to get it out to you.
So again, for the dal, rice, half a cup, easily serve 2 people, and the ratio of the rice to the water is 1 to 2. The ratio for dal was 1 to 4, and for rice is 1 to 2, a little bit less than 2 cups. But I cook in extra water and I drain the water because of the arsenic content in the rice, and it's better to kind of drain the water, cook it that way. So that's the method I'm using. So for half a people, you can dry roast the rice with the skillet first, and then wash, and then you cook it. Or you can dry roast and keep in a container, and then you can cook as you go. And for vata and pitta, it's fine because of the moisture content of the rice. When you dry roast it, it becomes lighter for cat.
So Paddy asks, can you cook rice and dal together? Well, that's what's known as khichdi, and absolutely you can do it, especially on a light day when you're eating light. You can cook rice and dal together in khichdi with the spices. I do that a lot, actually. You know?
Yeah, so that's my rice now.
So Isabel suggests using a Bluetooth head speaker. That's a good idea. We'll try that out for the next course, you know. So anyway, I can bring the camera back over to Raj anyway.
Sorry, we are just trying this out, and if it didn't go well with the recording, we will repeat it. So thank you for all the suggestions. So I can, if you're in a rush and you want that steam to speed up, so I can lift the whistle and it will help you to release the steam.
Well, I remember my mother had a pressure cooker when we were kids, and it used to whistle as well, and it used to go mad, and you had to push the little button on the top of it, and then there's 3 little rings on it from what I remember. I can't remember exactly how it worked, but definitely she used the pressure cooker a lot.
Yeah, some of them have rings. Yeah, so it tells you in the instructions manual to read the manual, and it's very easy. It saves a lot of time. So I'm not measuring the water in the rice because I'm going to drain the water. So roughly 1 cup rice and 3 cups of water, and I will boil until 1 cup is left. And you can press the rice in between your finger. It's nearly done, but it's not fully done. At this stage, we will drain the water. So I'll show you anyway.
So Claire asks, is there a difference between mung dal and dal? Claire, there's lots of different types of dal. So the one we're using today is mung dal, yellow mung dal. And it's the split part, it's the inner part of green mung beans. You often see the green mung beans in health food stores and things, but the dal is the center of it. And the reason we use mung dal a lot, even though you should definitely vary the dals, because you should vary your food all the time, but it's very good for all 3 doshas. And it doesn't aggravate vata, which most beans do aggravate vata, you know.
Are used for all the languages. When you go to in your restaurant, you ask for dal, so tarka dal, or
Poor dal, or
dal.
lots of different
Dal
dals.
is a common word, but then what kind of dal it is, that is the difference. Moong dal, tur dal, chickpea dal, split dal, urad dal, so many dals.
Ada Shah says, there a preferred rice for every day. You know, you should do variety of things, I would say. I mean, I wouldn't have rice every day. I'd have potatoes some day, rice some day, some quinoa another day. I mean, if you're using the same thing every day, it gets very, you know, it gets a bit boring, really, you know.
Recipe you're using for the rice and vegetable, you can vary. Instead of rice, you can use quinoa. The same recipe you can follow for making quinoa veggies.
Isabel asks about what about brown rice? Again, always a little contentious about brown rice. A lot of Ayurvedic doctors will tell you that brown rice is very hard on the digestion. A lot of other people will say all the goodness is in the brown rice, it's taken out in the white rice. But
as a pitta, you can use it, and as a vata and kapha, you use basmati more than the brown, but you can still use it because for vata people, it will be a little heavy on their system, and because of too much fiber might give you a bit of indigestion or hard to take longer to digest. Maybe now can you bring the camera here?
so be self-referral about the rice really, and just if it doesn't give you indigestion or anything, then you'll know it's.
So there, I want to show the dal after in the pressure cooker. So this is what happened. So the dal is cooked. So this is like a very nice soup. So if I press it with the spoon, this is all kind of mushy and done. So all I need is gonna add the spices into that. Wait, keep it here now. So this is my spinach and the spices. So I use the turmeric and garam masala and the cumin separately. If you are not familiar, you can just use a teaspoon of the churna, vata churna, pitta churna, and you just mix the spinach and cook the churna in the dal and let it all go. So there it is. As a nice for the liquid day, I would let it simmer for another 2 minutes, and this is a kind of a liquid day soup. But if you want it a little more creamy, I will cook it for in a very low heat and put the lid on for five minutes, let's say, and I will show the creamy texture of the dal. So this is a lovely kind of dal, and it smells lovely.
So dal, as Rajvinder is saying, you can use it as a soup for a soup day. I would tend to have it a little thicker than that,
Yeah, it will go thicker
and just
now.
boil the water off it really, and then. But if it's just a soup that you want, then that's perfect as that
And
is.
at this stage, if you think, oh, the water is left less, like mine one is plenty there, and then if you want to add water, don't hesitate to add a little bit more water, but use the boiled water the next time after adding. So okay, I just let it cook for another on the medium heat for another 5 minutes. So we will just look at it. And here the rice are boiling, and we're going to prepare the vegetables for the rice now.
So that dal, normally when I cook dal at home, it takes 20 minutes just to cook it. I wouldn't use a pressure cooker, just in an ordinary pot.
This is like ready. That dal is ready, and I don't know how long it took. I don't think it took more than 15 minutes, really. So this is ready. So like Patty said, can you cook rice and dal together? Yes, throw everything together and veggies, and that is called khichdi. So you have one meal ready in 15 minutes. So I think somebody in market or someone is asking, oh, listening, meal ready in 30 minutes, music to the ears. So that's what we mean when you say, oh, meal is ready. When I'm working busy, I don't have time. What I do, I throw everything together with the just cook some spices with the ghee and let the pressure cooker do the job. So within 20-30 minutes, I will be ready.
Yeah, and in the evening time, like I sometimes, if I'm tired and I come home and I'm tempted, I might say I'll just order a Chinese or something like that, and then I just think to myself, well, I'll have a meal cooked in the same time as that'll take to arrive here, probably quicker, and it's not going to cost me anywhere near as much, and it's going to be much better for me, and especially if it's just a soup that you want. So it really doesn't take. I mean, chopping up the vegetables and washing the dal is the thing that takes the longest. Once you get it in the pot, that's it. Nothing much more to do.
And chopping the veggies, you don't. If you grate it, that's faster. If you grate it, it's faster. And then, like a cauliflower, what I do with a knife, like I scrape off the top of the cauliflower. It's very quick. Same with the broccoli and the carrot. You just grate it. So it's really not that hard. So I'm preparing the the vegetables for the rice now. So again, either you can use the oil or the ghee. So I'm just going with the ghee. Same for the vegetables.
Sonia's asking about soaking in hot or cold water. Sonia, you don't even need to soak that dal at all.
But cold water.
But cold water, if you want to soak it, cold water. But I never soak mung dal. Other dals and kidney beans and all those things, absolutely. But mung dal, I never bother soaking it.
Yeah. So in the rice water, while they're boiling, I'm gonna throw a bay leaf into that just to add the flavor. So you can just cook it as it is and just mix it with some vegetable. So I'm showing how to add a bit more flavors into your rice. So using one bay leaf into the water, into the rice pot, just throwing as it is, and then maybe 3 or 4 cloves, and 3 or 4 black peppercorns. I have said that in the recipe. I have some cloves here. So just using 3 or 4 cloves in the winter. They're lovely for the respiratory system, balance that mucus from the rice, and then some whole peppercorns and a tiny bit of piece of cinnamon.
So that were cloves, which we're all familiar with in Ireland anyway, and
A
little bit of cinnamon.
Tiny, really. And if you have a black cardamom is brilliant for the respiratory system and to balance the heaviness from the rice. If you don't have black cardamom, 2 or 3 green cardamom are okay.
And you should all get yourselves a spice box. Yeah, obviously that's probably becoming very obvious now, you know. So you can buy really nice ones. I mean, that one that Rajvinder has is very nice, but you can buy, you know what to get yourselves for Christmas now, or if someone wants to buy you a present, you know what to tell them to get you a nice spice box. And don't get a plastic one. Get glass ones or steel ones or a nice spice rack. And just go, and the spices are not really that expensive, and just go get yourself some good quality ones, organic ones if you can. Definitely organic if you can.
Yeah, so I'm just adding a tablespoon of ghee here for preparing the vegetables for the rice. So I'm just reading the notes because I don't need to read things. I just throw things together for you guys. So I said, wash half a cup of rice and add 3 cups of water and add bay leaves, cumin, cloves, cinnamon, black peppercorns. It's all there. And now cook it until 1 cup is left. So I'll show you when to stop there. Now heat the ghee in a pan and add cumin seed and a pinch of dry mint. So I'm flavoring my rice with the mint. So for Hindu people, it's lovely. So we flavor our dal with the curry leaves. And we flavor the rice with the mint, and we're gonna flavor the aloo and gobi with the fenugreek. So I'm gonna show you the dry mint. And to get the flavor out of these dry herbs, it's better they're roasted in the ghee. Then they release their aroma, and then they're more flavor rather than adding at the end. So that's why I'm adding into the ghee. So just got this from the Asian store, but if you have mints in your garden, you can easily dry the mint in your house and into the sunlight or into the oven, and it's really a nice flavor. I love it into the rice. So just a pinch.
And I would really strongly encourage you to try buy organic spices. I've been to Kerala a good few times, and I was on some spice farms in Kerala, and oh my God, the trouble that was there because of the pesticides that they were using with the health of the workers and everything. Because unfortunately, they can end up using pesticides that we're not even allowed to use over here. They're banned. So they're very, very destructive, very destructive. So, and then I visited lots of organic spice farms as well, and it was just a completely different story. So get organic spices if you can.
So here I have a spring onion. So so now I add the cumin seed and the mint, and I'm gonna roast it. It's already roasted. So I'm just adding the spring onion. It's optional if you don't want to add spring onion, or if you don't have a spring onion, you can add ordinary shallot or ordinary onion. All is okay.
So the people want to know where you got the spice box from.
I got this from India actually, but it's on Amazon. I'm sure it's available.
Okay, so Rajvinder got that from India.
I say we can look and arrange it. If there is an order for a few people, we can arrange that.
Does that one have a lid also?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, it has a lid for it. Yeah.
Here's the lid.
Okay. So that's perfect. It's got a lid and everything, so it's we can keep it away. It means the light is not getting in.
Yeah.
If you want one, we can just send me an email, noel@ayurveda.ie, and I have lots of friends in India that might be able to organize to get some for us. So I can find out what sort of money they are. I have no idea actually.
No, they're not very expensive. Now the ginger paste goes in. So again, a roughly tablespoon of ginger, and if there's already mint to balance the ginger, if you think it's too much of ginger. So show the rice what they're boiling.
Okay, so if you do want the spice box, don't put it into the chats. I won't have the chats after this. Send me an email, noel@ayurveda.ie. I'm not saying I can get it, but I can certainly look into. We can try get them, and if we know that 10 or 20 people want them, we can try get a shipment of them in.
Yeah, but we are not promoting it. We're just trying to help. That's all.
Oh yeah, we don't sell them. Yeah.
Okay, so some people might like the lemongrass. If you have lemongrass, easily easily available in the supermarket. So you can even chop a lemongrass. So lemongrass is lovely to flavor chai. I use that in the chai, and it's a wonderful herb in the season now. So you can even throw some lemongrass with the spring onion. If you don't use onion, use leeks or celery. Not the celery, just leeks or lemongrass. So next, like I said in the recipe, now you're gonna add salt, turmeric, your garam masala, or your churna. So if you want vata churna, just add the vata churna or add the spices individually. So salt as per taste, and turmeric, a teaspoon. If you don't like rice to be yellow, then you can skip the turmeric and the garam masala. And instead of turmeric, you can just add paprika or cayenne peppers to give it a reddish kind of color. And if you like a tomato, you can add a tomato. Instead of tomato, I'm gonna make it tamarind rice. So I'm gonna add tamarind water.
So people coming in the chat box, those spice boxes are available on Amazon. So that even makes it simpler. Just go to Amazon and you can.
So here is the tamarind here. So I just soak that into the boiled water, hot water. So it gets softer. So just gonna mash it with my hands so the seeds come out, and it has some kind of, so you see this little vein kind of structure. So some of the food nutrition goes that the structure of the food resembles organs in your body, like the walnut with your brain or kidney beans for your kidney. So these tamarind little arteries and veins looks like capillaries. So they're actually very good for heart health. So tamarind is very good for heart and varicose vein and any kind of related to the vein. So that's the structure of the tamarind tells you. So that's the tamarind is a wonderful antioxidant. So there you go. Just have my tamarind water, and I don't need to throw this. You can keep in the fridge for next recipe, or you can take the seeds out and just cook in it. Just take the seeds and these little veins out, and because they're not going to get cooked, and rest could be cooked. Okay, so just adding this water here. So now I'm going to throw my veggies in it. So that's my purple cabbage. If you have a problem with the cabbage, you just skip it. And other vegetables here are broccoli, cauliflower, carrot, and some peas. So I actually got some fresh peas in there in the supermarket. Normally they're frozen. I have to see the fresh one in a little packet. So if you want to cook the rice separate and the vegetables separate, I have 3 dishes on its own. And you can do that as well.
Vegetable rice and dal would be a very, very standard meal for a lot of people, you know.
Very standard meal, because we haven't used any garlic here, we haven't used only with the spring onion, and you can skip that, so that's all it's actually made, and a very nourishing and healthy meal.
So you could keep those vegetables just completely separate. We're making vegetable rice, but there's, you know, you could just keep them completely separate. And you can see the rice is just boiling away there.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
bubbling away.
I'm gonna check the rice now. I'm going to show what I mean by so here. So now can you bring that? So I'm going to turn off. So when I say the rice is like half done or they're not fully done, so they can be pressed in between your fingers. But I see they need a little bit more time. At this stage, I'm going to drain the water. Otherwise, they will stick together, and I don't want sticky rice. I want them to be separate. So here on the vegetables, turn the heat down and just cover with the lid and let them cook at their own steam. And I want to drain the water from the rice. So what I do for draining is use the lid of the pot, and it has little holes in them. So these kind of lids, that from here the water will be drained. So you don't have to worry how I'm going to drain it out. So just place it and just. So we have used spices here. So this rice is actually full of silica, and Japanese women use the rice water for washing their face, for wrinkle and all, or washing their hair. So if you don't want to waste it, you can use it in that as well. That's it.
Okay, I just want to go back over a point there that some of you may have missed with the vegetables. Okay, so Rajvinder has lowered the heat on the vegetables, and now they're going to cook in their own juices. So I want you to note something. There was no water used in cooking the vegetables.
Yeah.
We didn't add water to them at any stage. So you're not diluting the nutrients or anything like that. They're just cooking in their own juices. But that has to be on a low heat. If it's on too high a heat, they'll burn or stick to the pan. So just once you have them going, you can reduce the heat down very low, really, you know, and then just keep an eye on them and they cook away. But as I say, they cook in their own juices. So
I drain the water and put the lid back on so that they will be done. And when vegetables are done, we will mix the rice and vegetables together. And now we're going to prepare our third dish of aloo gobi. So I actually turned the lid off on the cooker. It has built up some steam. If you want, you can do that, or just leave the lid. Just put on it. Don't lock it. Then the steam won't build up. So my dal is done. So my rice are done. I'm just waiting for the vegetable to be done. So this is like your meal ready. I don't think it's more than 30-35 minutes maybe. So you can very quickly have a fire ready meal.
So someone was asking, could you steam the vegetables and add the spices? But really it's frying the spices in the ghee. That's the important thing here. Because as any of you that have done our course, you realize the reason that Ayurvedic cooking uses ghee is because ghee goes very, very deeply into the tissues. Very deeply into the tissues. And when you fry the spices in the ghee, then that intelligence of the spice that's in the spice gets carried very deeply into the physiology, because that's what you're doing when you're eating food. You're taking the intelligence of nature and you're bringing it into your own body, and your body is taking the intelligence that it needs to the different places. But ghee is really revered in Ayurvedic cooking because of its ability to go very deeply into the tissues. And if any of you ever do panchakarma or any of those cleansing things, you end up drinking an awful lot of ghee, because the idea is it gets very deeply in and helps to get rid of fat soluble toxins, ama. So it would not be the same thing. You could fry the spices in the ghee at the end and add them to the dal. I do that all the time.
Let's go tempering. Maybe I'll show them. So while dal is done like that, and if you want some extra flavor, you feel like this is bland. So then you call tempering. So you heat up little ghee and add hingu and add a little cumin seed and pour it over at the end. But for real benefit, it's better to cook the spices in the ghee and cook the dish. So yeah, some recipe they cook the spices and then after that they do the tempering as well. So for in the recipe, I said you boil the cauliflower florets and the potatoes into salt and turmeric water. So that will kind of blanch it a little bit, and then it's quicker. So I don't have any space here, I think, to do that. So I just kind of put it into some boiled water while you're preparing the spices. Okay, so then add the turmeric in it. Turmeric will help for the cauliflower to take the color. Otherwise it will be still very white, and it looks nice when it has some color taken. Just the turmeric and the salt. So in the recipe you will read it, boil the turmeric and potato into salt, and the cauliflower and potato into salt and turmeric water. You bring to the point of the boil, that's all, and then you drain it, and then you drain it. So you just mix it here. So this is like equivalent to boiling, just put it there into the hot water.
So Paddy, I don't think coconut oil has the same properties as ghee, and yet a lot of people who are vegan will use coconut oil, and it is a very good oil to cook with as well, especially for pitta people. But ghee is just, in the Ayurvedic ancient texts, they just go on about it at length. It's one of the most sattvic foods there is. So I don't think it'll, I've never done panchakarma where they've given you coconut oil to drink. It's always where they always give you medicated ghees,
Ghee has different medicinal qualities which are different from coconut oil. But if you're not using ghee, then yeah, of course you use coconut oil.
I had a Vaidya in India told me not to use a knife to take the ghee out of the glass jar, because he said whatever touches the ghee, the property gets taken into the body, and the property of a knife is cutting. And he said, you don't want that property. He said, so use a spoon. So that's how they felt about it. That even the instrument that you use to remove it from the jar was important. And obviously, you never use a dirty spoon or reuse a spoon that you've used. When I say dirty, I mean one that you've used on food. Exactly the same with honey. Always use a clean spoon if you're taking honey out of the jar. And the same with ghee. Don't put it into the vegetables and then use it to take ghee out of the jar, because then it just contaminates the ghee. So
I'm preparing some shallots and some tomatoes from the cauliflower, because we didn't use any of those in any of the other recipes I want to show in that recipe. So this one is, you can de-skin and de-seed as well, just by boiling the tomato. So I'm just gonna remove the seeds as much as possible from it, just putting it aside. So just taking the skin and getting the seeds, but it's very easily done. This is a very nice ripened plum tomato, so it doesn't have that many seeds like in the salad tomato. So if your wife had told you not to use tomato, and if you're going to use them in the recipe, de-seed it and de-skin. Okay, so as I said in this recipe, I'm going to use mustard oil, because mustard oil or the rapeseed oil give a very nice flavor to the cauliflower recipe. So I have this mustard oil from that can in this bottle. So just kind of pour it over at the bottom. So roughly like a tablespoon or so.
And ghee is very easy to digest. I just saw something on a chat there coming in. Ghee is very digestible.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. So cumin seeds. Or if you don't want cumin, because we're using cumin, I'm gonna use mustard seeds here, or mixture of cumin and mustard seed. And I have to wait them to splatter. And because we have flavor the rice with the mint, so I'm gonna use fenugreek leaves. Dry fenugreek leaves has very lot of medicinal property. Fenugreek is a wonderful herb to balance blood sugar, and it's good for lactating mothers and a lot of other benefits. So, but it gives very nice aroma in the dry kind of when I use the dry kind of leaves. So again, you're hearing the crackle, and then we're gonna add the shallots. So some of the shallots. So again, the problem with the stainless steel is we have to act quickly, otherwise it starts burning. Because they're not very kind of thick metal. And for this recipe, you don't have to cook it for too long, like so just a little translucent. And add the ginger. If you don't want to use ginger that much, because you already have used ginger in the other recipe, you can skip it. And it's nice to have it.
Christine says it sounds tricky, but everything's tricky until you try it, and then it just becomes normal.
What sounds tricky?
I don't know. I think it was that recipe, but
if you have everything close nearby, it's nothing tricky, really. I have everything near.
You just have to do it.
I'm not moving that much. I'm not going to do much here and there to find my things. So just bring your things near you. So I just want to show the rice here. To see the rice are very separate, not sticky at all. And they're not gluey. Everything is kind of running smoothly. That's why I cook rice. So I take the lid off now, and let's check our vegetables. So see, they have relieved their steam.
Just speak a bit louder.
So when we are cooking the vegetable in the steam gather on the lid. So let it go in.
Can we turn off that fan? Okay, so I think with the fan in the background, probably it was more difficult to hear Rajvinder. So, and then there's a lot of noises coming off the pots and pans as well. So,
so no, maybe you want to show the vegetables a little bit.
Okay, so these are your lovely veggies. Now, I'm not sure that the camera is picking up the colors very well, but what I'm looking at is just actually the camera. Yeah, it depends on your computer, I suppose. But I'm looking at lovely greens and oranges and reds and purple and just absolutely gorgeous looking. Absolutely gorgeous. And that's your rice there.
So we will check the veggies in a minute, and then we will mix. We will go back, and I'm putting the tomatoes now. Bring the camera here now. So this is my mustard seeds and fenugreek leaves and shallots, and I haven't put any other spice yet. So the tomatoes are going in now. I don't have to wait to cook the tomatoes and everything get mixed. It will get mixed when they're cooking the cauliflower. So now I'm going to add the salt in it. I actually use 2 hummus salt, so again use this spoon. So one of these spoons is enough, and then a bit of turmeric, coriander powder or garam masala here. And this is it, and I will squeeze a little lemon into that. Lemon for the moisture. Lemon actually helps. Lemon, apple cider, tamarind, they help to absorb the nutrition from the food. When you're cooking the food with lemon juice and tomato or tamarind and all, it helps and it goes into the system because of the vitamin C. It helps absorb the iron and all the other minerals from the food. So here is my cauliflower and my potato into the tamarind water. So I'm going to drain it and I put this into this mixture here.
Now, the big problem with an online cookery course is you're not going to be able to taste this food afterwards. So we'll have to organize a big party afterwards when we're out of lockdown and everything, and we'll do a big cooking. So
yeah. But normally when I do the course, people get to eat this food, so then they know how tasty it is and how good it is. So everything gets mixed.
yeah, normally when we do an in-person cookery course, we used to do them in Knox Hall in Monkstown, and then people actually get to eat the meal as well. But obviously it would be far fewer people, and there would be more, the courses were a lot dearer as well.
I hope you're able to see the color and everything that mixed there. So at this stage, if you want, you can put that into your oven and roast it rather than steaming it. And it's lovely dal and roasted cauliflower. It goes really well, and it's a lovely meal. So at this stage, I have parboiled the cauliflower and added all the spices, and I can throw in my oven and it will get roasted. And that's a lovely roasted cauliflower served with the dal. Or if you steam aloo gobi sabzi, that you can serve with the chapati. So hopefully in some of the next courses I'll teach you chapati. So this is a lovely, lovely recipe, one of my favorites. And so here I mix everything, all the juices, all the spices, and cauliflower has taken a lovely yellow color by soaking into the turmeric water. So we low down the heat and cover the lid, and we will wait for next 10 minutes and it will be done.
Okay, so as soon as the lid went on, the noise level went down, and then you have to lower the heat there as well, because you know, everything here has been cooked on low heat once you get it going.
Yeah, so normally
so these are our veggies and our rice.
To show the vegetables. Turn the heat off here, and I want to show you with the fork. So you want just them to be fork friendly. You don't want it to be too kind of mushy or anything. So that's the fork is going into the broccoli and cauliflower here, and let's check the carrot. Yeah, so these are all done. So now the time is to add the rice into that. So use a flat spatula, then adding the rice, and add the rice really kindly and with the patient and gently. You don't want them to go mushy and all kind of mixed up. So you want your rice to be stand out separately. So really gently, kind of slowly mix the rice and the rice together. And this is it. And we're gonna add a bit more mint, dry mint on the top. And we just cover the lid and leave it in the lid under the lid for maybe 2-3 minutes. And all the flavor from the spices will get mixed very well with the rice. So here, this is a lovely kind of dish, and you could be served with the raita or drink with the lassi. So lassi and this rice dish goes well. Or the raita is a yogurt with some spices. So that is a kind of one dish on its own. We will serve them later. Show. I just put the lid on here. Let's check our dal now. Just need some space here. I'm just moving the computer on the back.
So we have a visitor has just walked into the room.
No. He doesn't have the.
All right. Okay. Rajvinder's son is actually here, so.
No, it's okay. He's in a sleeping mode. I don't want to do anything like that. So here, now if you want to bring the, so here is our dal and spinach done, and it is actually very well served with the plain rice if you want. And if you want it a bit more creamy, and like Noel said, he would like to cook it a bit more and make it more creamy, but this is perfect for me as a soup to cook, to serve it with the rice. Okay. So while this, our aloo gobi is getting done, so our rice, vegetable rice are done, and I have turned off the heat from the rice. Aloo gobi is under low heat, and we keep the dal a little bit more heat to make it a bit more creamy. And when this is getting done, we're gonna do the lassi. I hope I'm not too fast. It just seems like speeding up everything.
Okay, so maybe we'll take a little break and I'll answer some of the questions on the if any questions have come in. So hang on a second. Sorry, Laura. So I'll put the camera down. Okay, Janice Farrell, you're doing a great job. Janice, that's a nice chat to see. That's the first one I saw. Okay, I've cooked aloo gobi. It's lovely from Claire Markey. Isabel, is all that food for one sitting? Yeah, if anyone you live near Rajvinder, you know where to go to get in your car and you can be here in 10 minutes and you can have a lovely meal. Lainey Ennis, hearing Raj is tricky, very. Could you steam the veg and add the spices when almost cooked? We did that. Do you sell all the organic spices? We sell most of them on the website. Yeah, under churners or foods and spices in the shop, you'll see them. Looks like a lot of ghee went into the meal. Brian, you can alter that yourself. It's up to you how much ghee you use, you know. So if you're very kapha, use a little. If you're very pitta, use a moderate amount. And if you're very vata, you can use quite a lot. Is frying pan on a low or medium heat? It's all on a low heat towards the end. When you're heating the ghee, you can put it on a high heat and then turn it down to a low heat, you know. As kids, we love terrifying the visitors with the pressure cooker. Yeah, I remember being terrified by it as well. My mom also had a pressure cooker. I only ever remember it being used for the Christmas pudding. Actually, I do remember that as well, Janice. You could cook Christmas pudding in a pressure cooker. Could you cook the rice and dal together? Yeah, we've done that. Absolutely, you can. Now, let's see. Amazon have a spice box for £30. They have another one for £9, so that's okay. I worked on a fruit farm in Australia, and honestly, it is terrifying when the sprayers come in to spray the trees with the chemicals. I did the same myself. I picked fruit when I was younger in Australia, and even the guys working on the farm used to say the trees didn't last any length of time when they were sprayed. They remembered before spraying, the trees used to last years and years, and then once they started spraying, they'd get fruit out of the trees, but they didn't last very long, you know. So let me just see, go down here. Bought the black salt from Amazon, that's fine. Kind of pit a person, we've done that. Raj, speak up. Yeah, stealing the dal in the water. It's Raj too far. Well, I think when Tesco's came up, dal is available in most stores. Any tips for cooking chana dal? Always turns out hard. I never cooked it. Rajvinder, chana dal?
I have, yeah, soak it overnight. So and you have to boil first, like I boiled the moong dal, and then you flavor it, and then let it kind of cook it for another few minutes. Chana dal take a little time to pick up the flavors, you know. So you need to kind of soak it overnight, and so chana go very well with the courgette. So maybe at some stage I will show you the courgette chana dal. So yeah, it needs more flavor.
Okay, so we will use a Bluetooth speaker on our next course and see how that works out. Okay, let's see. Okay. Yeah, we've answered all of them. The pressure cooker, we've answered that. Okay, we've answered that. Answered that. John Lewis have a nice wooden spice box with glass lid. That sounds nice for £24. So John Lewis, I don't think they're in Ireland, but probably online, but obviously they're in the UK. How can you keep fenugreek leaves? Just, I think,
I'll show you actually the box. Actually, one of my patients, Roberta, she's there, she bought it from Amazon. She said it
Over
was
here,
from some farmers from Kerala that they were selling, so she was supporting them. So when I buy the Asian store, they come like that. It's called Kasuri Methi. So Kasuri one is a very nice, fragrant. There's a different brand of different types of Methi. The Kasuri is the fragrant one, aroma one. So that's the one you want. But you can actually grow fenugreek, fresh fenugreek in your own house, inside probably. So get the fenugreek seeds and put them into some soil. And in a few days, you get nice, like the coriander. You can grow the fresh fenugreek. Because of the bitters, it's brilliant for the liver functions, good for the diabetic, good for the respiratory health, and it's good for ladies for lung issues. So that's the fenugreek.
actually, it's very easy to grow a lot of different spices. In a lot of supermarkets now, you can buy spices, leaves, fresh leaves that you can just cut. You know, can you use prepared tamarind paste in a jar?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Just check that it's pure tamarind, nothing else in it. You can, yeah, because sometimes they add citric acid and some other stuff. Then it is a bit acidic on your system. So if it's pure tamarind, yeah, you can use that. Yes.
So can you just repeat the spices used for the cauliflower mix?
Of course, okay. So maybe you need to bring the camera here. So here is my, so see, I didn't add any water in here because cauliflower has plenty of moisture, and in few minutes start releasing that moisture. If you add water, it goes soggy and you wouldn't like it that much. You like it crunchy. So here, maybe camera a bit closer. So see, so if I put my fork here into one of the potato, like it is kind of almost done. Just need another maybe 2-3 minutes, and my cauliflower is also kind of done. So that's the way I would like. Right, just because there is a bit of moisture, so I can take up the lid and let it cook on the low kind of medium heat for another maybe few minutes, and then I'll put the lid on, and then it's ready to eat. So to repeat the procedure, okay, first I put the rapeseed oil, or I use the mustard oil, but you can use rapeseed oil if you can source it. And then I add either a mix of cumin or mustard, that's what I said in the recipe, or only mustard seeds, the tiny ones. There are two types of mustard, the thick one or thin one, so I have used the smaller ones. And the next I use dry fenugreek leaves and have to roast into the oil for the aroma to be released. And then next step was I added the shallots. So I just chop a shallot. Shallots are like less stronger than the onions, so I prefer the shallots over the onion for this recipe. So I used the small size 2 shallots, and then I had one kind of a medium sized tomato. So don't have to cook it for too long, just let it kind of mix with the oil, and then add a bit of salt, a bit of turmeric. So I show you that spoon, so just a quarter salt as per your taste, a half a teaspoon of turmeric, and a teaspoon of garam masala or coriander powder, whichever you have. And then just cook it, everything mixed well. And then I add the florets and the potato chunks. But what I did with the florets and potato chunks is I soak it into the boiled water with some turmeric and salt, so that my cauliflower took that yellow color from that turmeric water. This is optional, you don't have to do it, it still takes the color. But if you want to speed up the process, you chop the florets and throw into some hot water, and it kind of save you time when you're cooking. It is speed up the process a bit.
Okay.
And that's it.
And the other point is, it's all in the notes I sent you anyway. So you can see, it's all in the notes that you got as an attachment.
So this is it really, and I can see the potatoes are nicely done. If your wife just has told you not to eat potatoes, you can replace it with sweet potato. But that's where the mustard and fenugreek and the lemon and all that is balancing the acidity from the nightshades. And then the cauliflower chunks are done, and all the moisture is gone. So my sabji is done. So I'll just serve them in a plate and hopefully bring it to the camera. I'm sorry I cannot offer it to you. And so sorry, there were lassis left, so I'm gonna wait for the lassi as well. So lassi is the drink that go with the lunch. Lassi is not recommended for the evening meal, so not in the evening, only in the morning time or in the lunch, with your lunch. So for lassi, I have a live organic yogurt here, which is the Glanix. Whichever you have, if you're making your own yogurt at home, brilliant with the yogurt maker. Otherwise, this one is a live culture yogurt. Okay. So for one person, it is just a tablespoon, and for a medium glass, if I have a glass here, I show you. So if you have that size of the glass, so roughly a tablespoon or 1/4 of that glass, and rest is the room temperature water, which you have boiled and cool down the water, and then you add the water, and you're blending it with the spicy. So you can make sweet lassi, or you can make salty lassi. So sweet lassi, very good for peta. So for sweet lassi, you add cardamom powder or mint leaves and maybe a little rose water drops. And for the salty lassi, I'm going to show the salty lassi. You add mint leaves or dry mint leaves, fresh mint leaves, dry mint leaves, and ginger powder, cumin powder. For cumin powder, you roast the cumin and grind into your mortar pestle, and then a little bit of black pepper. Okay, and then blend it together. So lovely, and black salt, if you like the black salt. And if you have bloating problem, and a little bit of hingu. It's all in your notes. So these are the few ingredients.
What brand of yogurt did you use there? That's Glenins, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an organic one, but you can make your own as well, even better still. But that's available in Tesco's. It's available everywhere.
Yeah. So I'm just using 1/4 of that, so roughly 2 tablespoons I want to use. And the rest I'm going to add water. So as I said, boil the water and cool it down, and then we can use that. We actually run out of the boiled water, so I'm just using from the tap.
So Janet, what is hingu? Hingu, Janet, is asafoetida. It's resin from a tree, and it's used quite a lot in India and Asia and Iran, and it's got a very strong smell off it, but it's got a very nice taste.
These are prebiotics. Black salt and asafoetida are prebiotics for your good bacteria. So they help, and also they are good for vata tummy. When people are bloating, they can't digest the lentils, they can't digest the beans. So these kind of fruits, some vegetables. So asafoetida really help digestion, digest these kind of hard beans and lentils and vegetables like cauliflower or cabbage could be hard for some people. So I have some fresh mint here. So a few leaves of fresh mint, chop it or crush it in your hands, just throw it in there. If you have amla powder can go into that. A wonderful source of vitamin C. And I have some dry ginger. Dry ginger. So I'll turn the heat down on all of this section here. So roughly into that much is a 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of the ginger powder. And some of the black salt. Again, as per taste, or 1/4 teaspoon. So, and some cumin powder. If I have some. So okay, so dry ginger, black salt, cumin, mint, and the yogurt and the water, and that's it. And you just have to blend it together.
And you can make lassi with just yogurt and water. You don't have to add anything to it. But you can add different things to give it different flavors. And it's gorgeous, and it's recommended for drinking with a meal. We don't recommend drinking too many things with a meal. Either sip hot water or drink lassi, but certainly not cold water. And you don't need to drink too much. Just sip things.
So just a kind of a normal hand blender. That's it. It's very straightforward, and it's a wonderful digestive aid for people with somebody was asking the other day what they can do for hydration. They're drinking water and they still feel dehydrated. So lassi is very good way to hydrating your system. So until all the things are blended together. So this is like your probiotic because yogurt has a lot of lactobacillus and healthy bacteria for yogurt, and that's all. So that is our last thing. So when we are serving an Ayurvedic meal, so that's what we have.
There's one question that somebody asked twice actually. They say, why remove the seeds from the tomatoes? And did you recommend plum tomatoes?
Yeah, because of the lecithin. Tomatoes, the vegetables, the plant also have their protection system as a predator. So some of the vegetables like tomatoes, bell pepper, courgette even, that has tiny seeds in them, they have lecithin. Okay, so lecithin is meant to be inflammatory. So people with arthritis problem or autoimmune, Ayurvedic people does recommend them not to use tomatoes and these things. So that's why by de-seeding it, you kind of, and by cooking it, you make it less inflammatory. So that's why you remove the seeds. So some of the nightshades, like tomatoes come under nightshades, bell pepper nightshades, and some of the nuts like peanuts, cashew nuts. So most Ayurvedic just don't recommend to eat or keep it very little in your diet. So that's why you reduce the seeds. So sometimes remove the skin as well to make it easier on your digestive system. Okay.
So Isabel says, looking forward to using these recipes. Will you be doing more of these, Noel? Yeah, we will. It's Dr. Rajvinder, really. I mean, we have lots and lots of recipes. I'm actually very happy with this, and I think the fact that you can get the video, you have access to the video for a month afterwards, means you can go through it and start using the things and go back over it. So definitely, I mean, you've always heard me saying on the Ayurveda courses, if you don't get your diet right, you're not going to get your health right. And you can't be healthy without eating good food. And you know, the vegetables and all these things we're using there, they're all locally grown. I buy all locally grown things, and the spices might not be, but the vegetables and all that are all locally grown. So it's yeah, we'll be doing more because it's an essential part of Ayurveda. Would you consider doing a Christmas cookery course? This is the Christmas cookery course, Francis. I don't know that we'll be doing another one any closer to Christmas. Maybe, well, let's see. I'm not sure. Yeah, actually, if people want to stick in ideas about what they can email me or Rajvinder ideas about what they'd like to learn how to cook. But Christmas is not, well, I suppose it is celebrated in parts of India, but it wouldn't be a traditional Ayurvedic festival, really. The Pavali would be more that. But yeah, we can. It just depends on if we have time and if people will be interested getting very close to Christmas, you know. So Regina says, looking forward to a day in the kitchen trying these recipes. Yeah, okay. Well, that's what you absolutely need to do. I mean, you've nothing to lose. What if it goes wrong? You just start again, you know. And so don't be afraid. And there's no point in doing this cookery class unless you're going to go and start cooking them, you know.
Exactly. I highly encourage you to try. Worst some days you won't get the taste right, but eventually you get there. So like that's maybe Noel can show in the camera.
No, you got it there, yeah.
Can I? Did I?
Yeah, there you are there. Just up, yeah.
No, not really. So that's my dal.
Just go back a bit.
A bit.
Okay, now there you are.
So that's our cauliflower, and that's the dal, and that's the rice. And instead of this rice, you could have plain rice as well, and that's the lassi. So this could be just one meal, dal and the plain rice and lassi, or cauliflower. And if you have a chapati and the lassi, we can do, this is not a one meal, this you can do a lot with it. It's a lot of different ideas you can use around it. So that's the kind of our course today. So,
and that's a tally plate that Rajvinder has the food on with the different compartments on it. And you can buy them in Ireland. I got them as well. They're great. And,
yeah, no, if you want to, you don't have to start buying everything.
No, it's hope you get a good feed. No, yeah, it's a bit late at night for me, Isabel. That's the only problem. Okay, so that's perfect.
Is it coming?
No, let me do it.
Just zoom it here.
Okay, so that's the cauliflower, the rice, vegetable rice, and the dal. Okay, where's the dal gone? Okay.
You
on the wrong way.
Here,
okay,
here, put it here.
No, it's okay.
Okay,
it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's them all there. Okay, now.
Great, thank you.
Okay, everybody, that's our cookery course for this evening.
How long was it?
Okay, so lots of nice words coming in. Yummy. Thank you, Dr. Raj. I'm inspired and converted. Excellent. Look great. Looking forward to trying these recipes. Long ref peppers. Okay. So, okay, I'll present myself here. Just move over there after each other. So I was your cameraman. So, Jay Gurudev, thanks a million for coming on. No, come up, Rajvinder, say goodbye.
Oh,
So-
no.
Okay, so we'll answer some of the questions that are coming in if there are. Okay, no, it's fine. It's okay. So that's great. So I'll send a copy of this video out to you all tomorrow, so you'll have it to go over it. And if you do have any questions, you can just email Dr. Rajvinder.
Yeah.
So okay. So
Thank
there we
you.
are. Okay, so thanks a million for coming along. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be doing more. For those of you that are on the Ayurveda course, we'll see you tomorrow night at 7:30. And everybody else, just keep in touch. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on the Facebook page. Make sure you're registered for our newsletter. You should all be getting the newsletter. And if you're not getting the newsletter, go to ayurveda.ie and register for the newsletter. And
if you can't find any of the spice or anything, you can email us. It will be able to guide you, or most of these things are available locally or your Asian store or online. So I haven't used anything that wouldn't be available. So it's easy to
It's all
source
available.
everything. It's all available. So fenugreek leaves, I highly recommend. They're really a lot of aroma to your soups and dals and curry leaves and all that. So if you want to shop, just shop for these fenugreek leaves. One ingredient takeaway from this course.
And the other thing is, if you want to know how to make your own ghee, then we have a video on our YouTube channel, Dr. Rajvinder making that.
Very easy, very straightforward.
And there's also some other cookery videos on there.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody.
So I hope we wanted to try it, and I think it's okay. We will check the video, and next time we will have Bluetooth microphone and all the things as well. So this is giving more ideas for going forward for the next courses. So we will. I'm very interested to do a series and give you guys a lot of recipes. So hopefully we'll be able to do that.
Okay. Jai Gurudev, namaste, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.